Hello and welcome. India's business process management, or earlier called business process outsourcing industry, is facing significant challenges ahead as it faces the threats of artificial intelligence and robotics and so on. But the question that we are asking is, how is Indian industry prepared for this? What is it doing today that will help it cope with the challenges of tomorrow? To discuss this, I'm joined by Rohit Kapoor, Vice Chairman and CEO of EXL Services. Rohit, thank you very much for speaking with us. So first question is really, what are the significant things that are happening today that in some ways tell us or inform us about the manner in which you will cope with the challenges of tomorrow? And we are obviously talking in the context of going digital and artificial intelligence and so on.
So I think the BPM industry is at a good inflection point at this stage. The BPM industry has been going deeper and deeper into industry verticals where we serve our clients. And today our knowledge about our clients' business is as good, if not better, than our clients themselves.
Give us an example.
What that allows us to do is to leverage technology a lot more accurately in a pinpointed manner to drive better business outcomes and improve customer experience. It also allows us to leverage data along with the domain and bring the two together to create context. And it's the context that we are trying to drive with our clients and trying to create an impact. So an example of that might be, if you want to have a better customer experience journey, knowing what the customer wants even before what he or she might express is very, very insightful in terms of delivering the right product or the right service to that particular customer and offering it at the right price point and at the right time. So that is, helping us in fact engage in a much more richer format with our clients. And I think that is a precursor to what's going to happen in the future.
Right. And could you illustrate that further with, let's say, a particular industry that you've developed this kind of expertise and are able to offer this advanced opinion or advanced expertise, if one may call it that?
Right. So take the insurance industry, which for EXL is a dominant industry vertical. Almost 50% of our revenues come in from the insurance industry. So when a new customer is to be targeted in the insurance industry, let's say it's auto or home insurance, we've got a digital customer acquisition engine, which is a digital interface between the end customer and our client. We've got deep analytical capabilities of targeting the right prospects for that particular sale, and we can even identify at what time we should make the offer to that particular individual so that the propensity to buy is going to be the greatest. And by creating that kind of a match of targeting the right individual, offering it at the right time, and giving the right service, I think that creates a much better penetration rate, and that allows us to serve our customers a lot better.
And how is artificial intelligence playing a role in this, if at all? And let me take you a little back as well. About a couple of years ago, literally a couple of years ago, this was in experiment mode.
Right.
People were saying, oh, this is likely to happen, it's about to happen, we know it's coming, but it was not yet happening.
Right.
But now it is,
right,
as we sit in 2018. So how is this planning out?
So artificial intelligence is being adopted a lot more rapidly today, and it's becoming a lot more easier to implement at a lower cost and provide a higher benefit, and that's why I think it's at an inflection point. There are a number of newer technologies within artificial intelligence that are being adopted by the BPM industry. Machine learning, where we use deep learning algorithms to take data from unstructured data documents and populate the end customer systems that our clients have. Another example for us is using visual recognition to be able to evaluate whether a claim should be paid immediately or whether there is something more that we need to do as an investigation on a particular claim. So we are applying a number of these types of technologies, whether it's machine learning or cognitive RPA or deep learning algorithms, to determine.
So you're saying that the insurance companies, which as you said represent 50% of your business, are coming back to you in any case to implement this and not trying to do it themselves?
Yes, and the reason for that is when they try to do this themselves, this becomes a huge project for them and they are uncertain of the business outcome that's going to be delivered. When they entrust this responsibility to a firm like EXL, we will guarantee them a business outcome benefit. In fact, we will link our payment and our revenue associated with that business outcome. And the reason why we can deliver it much better than they can or somebody else can is because we understand the domain really well, we understand the technology and the analytics, and our real key competency is in integrating these three together.
Right.
And we do this several times in a repeated manner for all of our clients, and therefore we can guarantee that benefit.
The effort that is going into, let's say, reskilling your existing staff to manage this, is it much more than the earlier waves that we've seen in computerization to technology, or is it different this time? Most people believe it's different.
It's definitely very different, but what we are trying to do is we are trying to orchestrate different skills together. And let me give you an example. We have a deep subject matter expert who understands the domain. We've got an analytical modeler who understands how to manipulate data. We've got a technologist who knows how to code and how to write. And then we've got an orchestrator that is able to bring all of these together, apply the business logic, use the fundamentals of the data, use the fundamentals of the technology, and deliver that business benefit.
So who's the new person in this mix?
The new person in this mix is the orchestrator, because that is like a music conductor. It's like, taking different skills from different areas, integrating it in, and knowing what to apply where, that can deliver the maximum amount of benefit.
Right.
And that skill set is very rare. And most of these integrators that we've got and these architects that we've got, they are home built, but they are people who understand the subject matter expertise really well, but they can extend themselves onto the technology side or onto the analytics side.
Right, so a broader question, as in broad in terms of this could apply to you and the industry, that's the BPM industry. Is this industry going to grow in terms of number of people as it traditionally has? Is it going to shrink very rapidly? And what is going to happen broadly?
So I think there are two key metrics for our industry. One is revenue per employee, and that number has to go up every year. And the second is the number of employees that are deployed by the industry. And if you obviously multiply the two, the revenue per employee with the number of employees, you're going to get the total revenue for the industry. So I think the industry revenue is certainly going to increase quite rapidly. I think the most important element within that is increasing the revenue per employee and taking that up. And as we do more complex work, as we take more risk, we are able to drive that up. The number of employees is also going to increase, but it's going to increase at a slower pace. So we need to just be cognizant of that we're trying to maximize the value that we deliver to our clients and thereby the total revenue of the industry rather than the number of people that are deployed by the industry.
Right, but you're broadly saying that it's going to be increasing.
It's still going to increase
even at current pace.
Even at current pace.
And,
yes.
And you would also say that the transition challenges between non-digital to digital, the digital world, we're already the boat has sailed or the ship has sailed.
Yes, it has sailed. The good thing is, in the past, our clients would outsource a particular task to us or a particular process. Today, they are outsourcing the entire function.
Right.
Therefore, the volume of work that we are allowed to be able to have an impact on is much bigger. And that's why the number of people continues to increase.
Right. So last question, what are you seeing as some of the mega trends affecting your industry or affecting, could be in a positive or not so positive way, in the coming year or two?
So there are a number of changes that are taking place in the global economic environment. I think in the US there is a new tax act that has been introduced, and I think that impacts some organizations positively, others negatively, and I think all organizations will need to deal with that and be able to make changes to their long-term strategies to be able to play with that. I think Brexit is going to be a big area of focus as that takes place.
Can I go back to the tax part? So you're saying lower tax regime will result in companies going back to the US, or?
There are actually multiple elements that are taking place in the new tax act in the US. So one, in terms of repatriation of overseas cash, that becomes a lot easier. However, there's also a base erosion and an anti-tax abuse policy that has been introduced, which for US incorporated companies is a deterrent.
Right.
And therefore it's really a combination of these two that will need to be applied.
And you were saying Brexit.
Brexit, I think, is another dislocation that is taking place, and anytime there's a dislocation, I think there's an opportunity for the BPM industry to step in and help the clients in terms of that dislocation that's taking place. Okay. So that might be another thing. But if you take a look at the whole world, I mean, this is the first time that all the major developed economies are growing almost simultaneously. And therefore, I think it's great for the BPM industry to help our clients on a global basis.
Right. Rohit Kapoor, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me.